bullshit level, DEFCON 5.
My sentiments exactly. Hey guys, Cruisnick back with more Final Fantasy XIV, and we're finally getting to the end of Before the Fall. But before we do, we have to get through a few bits of storyline first. So this first and foremost, we're gonna get through the final arc of the Hildibrand, A Realm Reborn bullshit, so that we can get on to bigger and better things. So when we last left off in the Hildibrand questline, the thief of many faces had finally gotten the victor's prize, and apparently he's been collecting a whole bunch of shit, but he got off with another heist. Either way, I stopped paying attention to it. I'm just gonna that was unpleasant. Alright. Anyways. Alright, so let's get on to the quest line. I was wondering when you'd show up, Bayan. I hope you haven't made any plans for the day, because we've got a situation on our hands. Remember our good friend, the Phantom Thief? Well, it seems he's decided to branch out from burglary to cold-blooded murder. If the rumors are to be believed, he's claimed 3 victims already, all influential members of Ul'dahn society. Mr. Many Faces has been kind enough to leave one of his signature calling cards at every scene, leaving no doubt as to the identity of the murderer. The message is always the same. The weight of 5 corpses will bring the scales of justice to balance. More riddles. Not that you'll hear me complaining. No, the only thing that my readers like more than a good mystery is a good murder mystery. Ever since the story broke, the mystery's been selling like Pom's cakes. The only rub is that it's left me no time to look into the thief's last message. Until now, that is. Shall we, Bayan? The hidden treasure of Ul'dahn, was it? If there's anyone who can shed some light on this, it's you-know-who. To Sunsilk Tapestries! Oh boy, here we go. What now, if it isn't my favorite venturer, and my favorite Mr. I reporter along with him? Tell me, what have I done to deserve the pleasure of your company today? I see. As much as I'd like to help my two of my best mates, I'm afraid you've found Wyman at a loss. Ul'dahn has more than his fair share of treasures, hidden and otherwise. I reckon our friend could be after just about any of them. I can tell you this much, though. Whatever the thief's got his eyes on, it's got the Sultan sworn in all right thither. Word has it they formed a regiment of their best and brightest to safeguard the royal vaults from his very threat. The Sultan sworn aren't like to be forthcoming with information, but it's the only lead we've got. Come, Bayan. I say it's time we paid a visit to the heart of the sworn.
Oi, hold up there! I ain't generally be the worrying type, but you may want to think twice before getting yourselves involved in this. A man in my business develops a nose for danger, and this time the stench is something fierce. You're a reporter, early, and a fine one at that. Don't put that pretty neck of yours at risk trying to play hero. Your concern is touching, but I can assure you that I am ready for whatever dangers lie ahead. Besides, being a reporter is about more than selling papers. I have a duty to seek out the truth and convey it to the people. Come, Bayan. Time is of the essence.
Alright, let's head to the Chamber of Rome. No, Alchemist Guild, that's right. Halt! Only authorized personnel are allowed in. The dog's bugging me with a broadsword. It's the Gentleman of Light's adventuring companion, and that catty but cute reporter from the Mithril Eye. Well, if it isn't the self-styled warrior of light. Tell me, what tall tales did you spin to the Sultan's sworn recruiter to land yourself in this position? Only the 12's honest truth, miss. Seeing that Gentleman of Light standing tall and triumphant that day, it moved me to the depths of me soul. Like, I vowed to put aside my sketchy past and serve the realm just like my hero, Master Hildibrand. The Sultan's sworn were impressed with my commitment and my sword arm, and they gladly welcomed me into their ranks. Wait, don't tell me. You've come to assist Master Hildibrand on his investigation, haven't you? Cool, why didn't you say so sooner? It's the least I could do to help me, the maids who united me with my role model. You'll be wanting to speak with Phyllis. She's one of the Sultan's sworn's best, and something of a history buff, it'd seem. When she heard the thief was targeting the 4 relics of Ul'dahn, she personally stepped forward and volunteered to lead the investigation. If anyone has the information you're looking for, it'd be her. Wait here while I get her. I can trust you not to touch anything, eh?
A pleasure to meet you, Phyllis. My name is Ellie from the Mithril Eye. As you may have heard, we're researching the Phantom of Thief case, and would appreciate any information that may shed light on recent events. The pleasure is mine, Miss Ellie. And if I'm not mistaken, that would make your companion friend here one Bayan Oronia, yes? You know Bayan? As any regular reader of the Mithril Eye would, I confess to being something of an unabashed fan of your work. Though it hardly befits my station to say this, I was secretly hoping that you would show up to assist the investigation. Doubtless the inspector, too, will also welcome a helping hand.
The Sultan's one. The elite of Ul'dahn's elite. I can only hope they prove more competent than the bungling mercenaries I've dealt with thus far.
Inspector Briardian, always one step ahead of us.
Miss Ellie, Bayan, a moment if you would. Right there. Very good. Now, face me and don't move an ilm.
Inspector, what is that in your...
Demasking dust. A formula of my own devising that will allow us to see right through the thief's disguises. Analyzing the mask left behind at Vesper Bay, I was able to identify its composition and synthesize a counteragent that would dissolve the disguise whilst leaving the wearer's face intact.
Steals your bacon.
In any event, it would appear the two of you are indeed who you appear to be.
Brilliant, Inspector! The Phantom Thieves pulled the wool over our eyes for the last time! I fear it won't be so simple. The ingredients necessary to produce the dust are exceedingly rare. Even with the entire resources of the Sultan's Sworn at our disposal, we were only able to produce a limited supply. I see. Well, I suppose it's better than nothing. That said, have you been able to identify the thief's next target? A hidden treasure of Ul'dahn, the last of the 4 relics of Ul'dahn. I fear not. I've pored through the histories of time and again, but the only mention of these 4 relics is a vague reference in an old prophecy. Most serious scholars consider it little more than a fairy tale. When darkness falls, and hope fades to despair, 4 warriors born of light shall descend in the righteous glare. The legend goes on to describe 4 sacred artifacts, one each possessed by these 4 Beladian heroes, but makes no mention as to their appearance or nature.
There are times when we have tried to identify the thief's target, and 3 times has he foiled us by making off with something else entirely. Neither speculation will only play to the fiend's strengths.
All artifacts of Beladian origin have been sealed within the royal vault, and a regiment of our finest assigned to its protection. I have furnished all the guards with a supply of demasking dust, and instructed them to be on the lookout for any suspicious personages.
The Blackhead will be in chains before it can lay a dirty hand on the vault doors, let alone the treasures within. You have our word, my lady.
But there are even more disturbing matters at hand. Doubtless you have heard of the recent rash of murders perpetuated by our quarry. The Sultan's sworn have launched an investigation, but the truth of the matter is that we have been far too occupied with the defense of the vaults to make any meaningful progress. We would be most grateful for any assistance you could offer.
A lady asks, and a gentleman answers! Here he is. Cast all worry from your heart, my lady. Hildibrand, agent of inquiry, inspector extraordinaire, has arrived to set right what is wrong and bring the wicked to justice. And this must be the Damascus dust that is the talk of the palace. But you need not waste your supply on me, Inspector. I can assure you that I am exactly who I claim to be.
Hee.
A shame that...
Inspector Hildibrand, we were not expecting you, but your services are most welcome. I will share all I know about the recent murders. The killer has claimed 3 victims thus far: the head of a publishing consortium, a high-ranking government official, and an influential scholar. Other than that, they were all influential figures in their respective circles. We can identify no common threads connecting the 3.
Oh ho! This will prove a most satisfying case to crack indeed. And what is the method of killing? Conked over the head with a cudgel? Gutted with a great sword? Strangled with a subligar, mayhap?
I'm afraid that we've identified no pattern. In any event, the murder plots of the deaths of 2 were more even as we speak. We must take action, and quickly.
Understood, my lady. Clues may be scarce, but worry not. My realm-renowned powers of deduction are more than up to the task. I will see this burglar-turned-butcher delivered to justice.
Your presence is heartening indeed, Inspector Hildibrand. Friends, please take this demasking dust with you. I fear we can spare but a single sachet, but I trust you will put it to good use.
Thank God this is like the last leg of the race. Care to accompany me on another case, friend? I like your gusto. But if you're auditioning to be my assistant, I fear that role has already been filled most ably. Still, a gentleman welcomes the support of all his admirers. I shall henceforth name you thusly, Bayan, my ever-loyal associate. And now, my ever-loyal associate, the investigation calls. I propose that we begin by inspecting the site at which the most recent victim met its demise. My questioning about the palace has revealed that the scholar's body was found not far from the 80 sins of Sasamo. Even the most circumspect of criminals cannot help but leave behind clues that will most not elude my gaze. Friends, let us be off! Pray alert me should you see anyone suspicious, my ever-loyal associate. We must put Miss Felice's demasking dust to good use. Yeah, this is so not gonna end well. Alright, we're off to Western Finland.
Quests I see.
Yep. Thankfully, this is like the last leg of the race for this quest line, at least in terms of a Rome Reborn. And hello also to Lady Trexie, who's also watching and stole my frickin' bacon again. Anyway, let's continue. Flowers. Flowers? Yes. It is all becoming clear now. Our phantom killer is a florist who, in his hurry to escape, carelessly mislaid his wares. Just what do you think you're doing, eh? Eh? I'm the one who... Oh, wrong voice again. I'm the one what put those flowers there, eh? To honor the memory of me poor boy. You dared defile his memory, eh? Eh? 1,000 pardons, my lady. Please accept my most sincere condolences on your loss. I am Hildibrand, agent of inquiry, inspector extraordinaire. I swear to you, on my own dear mother's name, that your son's killer will be brought to justice. Ahem. As I was just seeing, these flowers were clearly placed here by the family of the deceased, which can only mean... Leave this place! Run away while you still can! Run! Far, far away! Run! Or I'll turn you into a zombie! Just like my poor, poor boy! A living person turned into a zombie? Nonsense! Not nonsense, my boy! History! Or have you not heard of the terrors of Sil'dih? Aye, Ul'dahn's sibling nation, against which we waged war centuries ago. Much blood was shed by both sides, aye. But I speak of far greater horrors than death, an unholy drought brewed by a Sil'dih alchemist. One with the power to turn the living into the dead, that this nation might command an army of mindless, deathless soldiers. The traitors spurn. They turned my poor boy into a heap of rotten flesh and ran him through. But you won't hear that from the Sultan Sworn. Thal alone knows why, but they whisked the body away before I could so much as pay me last respects. The traitors spurn. I'd heard the stories, but never thought them true. To be able to procure such a frightening thing, just who are we dealing with here? A Sil'dih, I'm sure of it. Aye, only a Sil'dih would know the recipe. But the last remains of Sil'dih died 4 centuries ago, you say? Oh, they did! He calls himself the Phantom Thief, he does. But did it ever occur to ye that he might even be an honest-to-God's phantom? Eh? Eh? Heard the tales from my own great-great-grandma, I did. About the 4 relics of Belladia and the powers they hold. Their power to exact justice. A spectre of Sil'dih has returned to wreak vengeance on us. Woe! Woe unto us all! Have the 4 warriors of light forsaken us? My dear boy, if only you'd become a trader like your father. If only you'd kept your nose out of those history books and never so much as breathed the words of the accursed name of Sil'dih. But you did, and now we're doomed! 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 That was one crazy bird. And now we sit here contemplating. That bleeding Whoreson's here somewhere. I can feel it in me follicles.
She's crazy.
That most potent hair tonic the most potent hair tonic the realm has seen? Aye, that it was. For all of a fortnight, afore my flowing locks fell out all over again. And just as I was chatting up a lovely young lass at the quicksand, just a twist of knife and extra ilm. Montebank! Charlatan! I'll find that so-called inspector and his sorry band and pull every last strand of hair from their bleeding skulls. Okay. Next. It's all becoming clear to me now. That dear old woman's testimony has confirmed that which I expected from the start. Like a zombie picking away at its rotting flesh, Hildibrand, agent of inquiry, inspector extraordinaire, has peeled away the foul scab of uncertainty to reveal the truth within. Open your ears and feast your minds on the fruits of my flawless deduction. Ahem. Our phantom thief is a phantom indeed, a wayward spirit caught between the realm of the living and dead for nigh on centuries before meeting a tragic end on the battlefield. As such, our course of action is clear. We must placate his tortured soul, that it might abandon its vengeful vendetta and travel to the next life in peace. But what is the true nature of the spectre's grievances? Without this knowledge, we cannot hope to assuage its rancor. Let us begin our search at the Thaumaturgist Guild. Doubtless the tomes there contain a wealth of knowledge on the ill blood between the sibling nations. Notwithstanding the abject stupidity of everything else that came out of your mouth, some knowledge of Sil'dih might serve us well. Go research as you will, and do take as much time as you need. You can count on me, Inspector Briodian. Whatever knowledge it is to be gleaned at the guild, it shall not escape my inspector's eye. Yeah. This will be as productive as all the rest of the investigations we've done so far. I need a wafer cookie. Gods be good! You're the adventurer who saved me back at the ruins! Researching the ancient feud between Ul'dahn and Sil'dih, are you? Why, I'm pleased to say I have more than a passing familiarity with ancient history. To understand the history of the sibling nations, one must go back further still, to the birth of their mother nation, Beladia. The fifth astral era was an age of untold wonders, when the arcane arts and the great civilizations that commanded such powers flourished. This age of enlightenment would last, however. Power bred avarice, and avarice bred resentment. It culminated in the War of the Magi, which brought the great floods of the sixth astral calamity, which in turn swallowed once proud nations and left a battered wasteland in its wake. Mages were reviled and persecuted for having caused this catastrophe, with many forced to leave their homelands or face death. It was a small band of these survivors that found their way to Thanalan, where they could found the nation of Beladia some 8 centuries agone. Ah, imagine a government of mages, by mages, and for mages. What wonders might have been brought and wrought had Beladian civilization survived to this very day. Alas, it was not to be. Okay, who's next on the list? Erasmus. You don't say. It's not every day someone comes to our halls to research Sil'dih. As a fellow student of history, though, I'm more than welcome the conversation.
Beladian civilization flourished in relative peace until twin sons were born into the royal family. The two were fierce rivals, and when they came of age and their father passed, each one claimed that he was the rightful heir to the throne. With neither son willing to relinquish his claim, they agreed to split their kingdom in two, forming the twin nations of Ul'dahn and Sil'dih. But not unlike the two proud princes, the sibling nations developed a penchant for rivalry.
Welcome to the Thaumaturge's Guild. It is fate that had guided your steps to here, friend. Within these hallowed halls...
Oh, wait. Wrong person.
Greetings, traveler. You would learn of the war between Ul'dahn and the fallen Sultanate of Sil'dih? It would be my pleasure to enlighten you. The two city-states coexisted for several generations until the bad blood between them boiled over, culminating in outright war. As you might deduce from the present state of affairs, Ul'dahn emerged victorious, leaving its once proud sibling nation in smoldering ruins. As the histories tell it, the battles fought between the sister nations were the stuff of nightmares. In a desperate attempt to overcome Ul'dahn's superior numbers, Sil'dih's alchemist devised a most horrific stratagem, employing a frightful formula known as the traitor's spurn. They brought their fallen warriors back as undead soldiers. Some theories have it that they even employed the potion on those of the living who were too weak or wounded to fight. Sends shivers up the spine just thinking about it, no? It is truly a crowning glory for our fair nation that our forebears were able to emerge victorious against these horrors.
Alright, let's talk to Kokobuki, the guildmaster of the Thaumaturge's Guild.
What's that you say? You seek knowledge of the bad blood between Ul'dahn and Sil'dih. I suppose I can spare a moment or two, but take good notes. I'm not fond of repeating myself. 2 scales, one of gold and one of silver. The gold of Ul'dahn weighing prosperity and power, the silver of Sil'dih weighing knowledge and power. But the power sought by the two nations differed greatly. Yes, greatly indeed. The power wrought by Ul'dahn prosperity was that of justice and good, while the power wrought by Sil'dih knowledge was horrific beyond belief. The power to rip the living soul out of a man and render him as a mindless killing machine. On this matter the histories are clear, but riddle me this, my friend. Who writes the histories? And what does it say of the words written within? Yes, truth can be elusive and fickle as the shifting sands. As one example, did you know that in the war against Sil'dih, Ul'dahn and Amalja warriors fought side by side? Likely you did not, and neither did I, until I uncovered a faded passage in the ancient texts buried deep within our archives. And yet, in the histories read by the populace, you will see no mention of this most fascinating fact. Might it be that someone, at some time, deemed this particular truth less than convenient? But I have said enough already.
Well, there's our history lesson for you. My ever-loyal associate, tell me, what have you learned from questioning the scholars in these halls? Indeed. As it happens, I learned much the same. Let's take a moment to review, and allow my peerless powers of deduction to work their magic. A war of succession divides the great nation... A war of succession divides the great civilization of Belladia, giving rise to the sibling nations of Ul'dahn and Sil'dih. The two nations coexist for some generations, until ill blood boils over, culminating in outright war. Daunted by Ul'dahn's superior military might, Sil'dih employs their advanced alchemical knowledge to horrific ends, transforming their own citizens, alive and dead, into a fearsome undead legion. Yes, I believe I have it. The facts at hand have led me to one unassailable conclusion. Our phantom thief is a descendant of the doomed Sil'dih, who seeks vengeance against those who reduced his countrymen to slavering zombies. To pacify his soul and send him peaceably into the next world, there is but one course of action. We must find the Sil'dahn statesman who conceived this dreadful stratagem, and have him apologize to the thief in person for the suffering he has wrought. A brilliant plan. Perhaps you'd like to go and find yourself a shovel and dig the statesman out of his grave yourself. Leaving aside the nonsense of spirits inspectors, it appears increasingly likely that our quarry shares some link to Sil'dih. His garish garb is no doubt meant to evoke the silver scales of the fallen sultanate. This Sil'dih connection would also serve to explain the rare knowledge of Beladian relics our thief currently possesses. But what of the murder victims? What common thread amongst them could have incurred the ire of our adversary?
Few people in town spoke of a man sighted calling upon the victims in past days. Those who saw him said he had a most frightened air about him.
Wait. Yes, it's coming to me. Of course! My keen investigative senses ring out with a voice loud and clear. This man Miss Ellie speaks of just might know something. You really should stop thinking so hard. You're like to strain a brain muscle. Miss Ellie, who is this man and where might we find him?
My sources identified the man as Gugu Rija, a traveling merchant known to frequent Horizon. Shall we pay him a visit?
We might as well. We don't got anything better to do. Alright, where is this fucker? Oh, look at that. Yes? If you've got business, make it quick. My time's too valuable to waste time chatting with every stranger who passes by.
Forgive us, good sir. My name is Ellie, a reporter with the Mistral Eye. Never blinking, all seeing, you know the rest. I was wondering if we could trouble you with just a few questions.
Was it for love or money that you killed them? Yes, you, the thief of many faces!
Me? A thief?
What is this nonsense?
I don't know who you are, but I ain't got the time for or the patience for this mummery. Now, if you'll excuse me, an important client awaits.
I thought I recognized that voice. Oh, wrong voice again. Lady Dorilda, well met indeed. Pray tell, whatever brings you to these environs this fair evening?
Why, I live here, you ham-headed half-wit. Inspector Bayan, this is an unexpected pleasure. Do you have some business with my associate here, pray tell? Guguria, we can discuss business after. Pray, lend the inspector here, the handsome one, whatever assistance he requires.
But Lady Dorilda, what about...
Ah, yes, my dear Maria's name day present. I had in mind one of the prized pieces from Eshtaim's latest seasonal collection. You would be able to procure one for me, yes? Or shall I eliminate the middleman and make the trip to Ul'dahn myself? I'll say it once more, Guguria. I expect you to give the inspector and his companions your full assistance. They, yes, even the stupid one, helped me regain something truly priceless. Yes, something more valuable than any mere trinket.
Well, she sure has changed. A bit.
All right. I'll tell you what I know. But you didn't hear it from me, got it? I was looking into the killing on behalf of a client of mine. The thief got himself some of that zombie dust.
The traitor's spurn, was it? And his cards speak of 5 victims. It got me thinking. Sil'dih, 5 victims. Aye, the Arbiters of Truth. The Arbiters of Truth? I am not familiar with the name. Aye, few would be, on account of them being something of a secret society and all. Influential personages of the Sultanate, you see, working from the shadows to keep false knowledge about the Ul'dahn-Sil'dih conflict from reaching the ears of folk like you and me. False knowledge? Pray tell, just what sort of knowledge might that be? The doll's balls! Don't make me say no more! I've got a family to feed! Very well, just tell us one last thing. Who hired you, and where can we find him? Hob! His name's Hob! When he learned what I said, he told me he was going to set sail for Limsa with his 5 best sellswords to guard his back. Said there were many prying eyes at the airship docks. Said he'd have a private ship docked and waiting for him at Vesper Bay. But remember, you didn't hear none of this from me. This man Hob must be one of the killer's targets. Doubtless he also knows the identity of the remaining one. I doubt that. They say the Arbiters are so secretive, they don't even know each other's true identities. Now, don't ask me how all that works, but Hob's got high-ranking friends in the Brass Blades. Once he heard the victims had all been zombified, he panicked. Guess he knew that he'd be next. Thank you very much, my kind sir. Once again, the ancient mandible art of parley has procured for us a key morsel of knowledge. Let us seek out this Hob fellow and see what he can share with us. And let us hurry. The man's life is in danger as we speak. Alright, let's hurry off to frickin' Vesper Bay. The fuck? Please don't tell me that is what I think it is.
Master Hob? Master Hob? Is everything quite alright?
No! Stand back, Ellie! Hunger. I hunger for your brains! Damn. There's no saving the man. Bayan, do what you must. Yes. My first-hand knowledge of zombies tells me this particular shade of green is unmistakably that of the undead. It would seem we were a few moments too late to the scene.
A message. And then there was one.
There it is again.
Is something the matter, Inspector?
Indeed, Nashu, there is. Ever since I picked up the trail of the Phantom Thief, I've had this feeling since... a sense that someone or something is watching us.
The thief might be close at hand. We should be careful.
For the moment, let's return and report our findings to Miss Delise. Secret society or no, knowing the identities of its members may yet lead us to the final victim.
I, too, had best return to the Mystical Eye. Let's meet up again after. I'll see what new clues I can uncover in the meantime.
You'll do nothing of the sort, Miss Ellie. These streets are far too dangerous for you to walk alone.
Inspector! Inspector! I'll go with her.
If you insist, Nashu, then I give my leave. But pray, be wary. Not just of the thief, Miss Ellie, but of Miss Ellie. She has quite the temper, as we both know. Miss Ellie, there is something I must tell you when the case is over. Be safe, and promise me that you will not attempt anything rash, as you did that time when the fiend took aim at my own life.
Your life, Inspector? Ah, it costed us all. Yes, that was quite the ordeal, wasn't it? I'll be careful. I promise. I eagerly await the day when I may hear what it is you would share with me.
A secret vow? Oh, consider my interest piqued as well, good Inspector. Now, let's be off. Miss Felice waits our report. Oh. Oh wait, other way. Whoops. I went the wrong place. Right church, wrong pew. You know what I hate about certain packages? You just cannot get them open. There we go. Wafer crack. Wafer cookies.
A fourth victim? God have mercy! Were you able to glean aught of a connection to the other victims? The arbiters of truth? No! It cannot be! Somebody! Help! Miss Ellie! The voice came from the direction of the vault. We must hurry!
Sorry, I just love these wafer cookies a little too much. Miss Ellie, are you hurt?
That man! I only thought to ask him a few questions, but before I knew what was happening, he was upon me. I could only...
Bash his brains with a conveniently placed bottle of mead, it would seem. Remind me not to get on your bad side, Miss Ellie. That said, is Nashu not with you?
She saw a figure lurking in the shadows, and went off in pursuit before I could stop her. This man wears the armor of a salt-and-sworn squire, yet his face is unfamiliar to me. Something is amiss. The thief of many faces? To think we would find our men like this.
Thrice and again did the fiend elude our grasp, no more. By virtue of a gentleman's ingenious deductions and a lady's pugilistic prescience, I declare this case closed. I return this statue to you, Miss Felice. Whilst the gesture was appreciated, in the end it proved superfluous to my cracking of the case. While you're at it, is there anything else of immense value that you'd like to wantonly destroy? Well, would you look at that?
What? What is the meaning of this?
Ingenious. A double disguise, planted by the thief to throw us off of his trail, no doubt.
This is Grigray, one of my most capable men. I assigned him to guard the vault and outfitted him with an ample supply of damasking dust. It is inconceivable that the thief would so easily elude his grasp.
Unless the thief was not wearing a mask. Speaking of which, has anyone seen Miss Ellie? No. That's impossible. Of course. It all makes perfect sense. With the Phantom Thief to thank for her burgeoning readership and rise through the ranks of the Mithril Eye, Miss Ellie could not bear to face the possibility of a story of a lifetime coming to an end. Thus she hatched a plan to... My lady! The vault has been breached! The wise men's whisper! It's gone!
For her foul crimes against the Sultanate, I hereby declare Ellie of the Mithril Eye, the thief of many faces and enemy of the state. Deploy all troops and do not rest until she is in custody.
And now the game is truly afoot. Bah! What is the meaning of all this racket and rumpus? And just as we were about to make our triumphant return. Isn't that so, Enkidu?
Miss Ellie! Miss Ellie! That shadow you said you saw! I think it was just a dormouse. To think he'd literally stumble face first onto the second mask. His good fortune truly knows no end. But not to worry. Yes, I dare say the Phantom Thief has yet another trick or two up his sleeve.
Well, there's a fine kettle of fish. Let's take a quick break.